How's it going, everyone? Today we are doing a slightly different video than the daily videos. We are going to review all of the picks from January. So since I started doing this in the beginning of the month, I've given out 19 picks in January. So we're going to go through all the picks. We're going to see how they did. We're going to tally up the wins and the losses at the end. And you'll see, certain themes, certain patterns that we were looking for over there. So I'm going to have the market in the background because that is important. And that will give us some context over here as we scroll through some of these picks. So first one over here was Amgen. So I took it Sunday night. I called out the video. I took the trade personally on the 8th. You can see that it had a really nice move up, took some while to digest the gains, and it actually surged into earnings. So one thing you can check here is if Amgen is one of those stocks that tends to rally into earnings. You can see the earnings reactions before. I'm not sure if I'm able to see it now because the earnings has already happened, but that's something you'd watch for in the future. Amgen, nice chart here. I took small profits towards the end of the month. You can see that we had some major news pending. I was going on vacation, so I wanted to take the small win. If I had held it a little bit longer, you can see how we actually ended up going on this 8 EMA and popping back up right before earnings. It actually reached a high of almost 330, which is pretty nice, but you could have taken easy profits on that Feb 1st candle. So look at here. You can see how the stock, well, I've really zoomed out far here. Let's go to the H1. We can just get a little better view of what's going on here. Okay, Jan 8th, right? That's where the trade came out. See how it came down, finding support, came down again. Had to make a higher low. Came back again, touched support, compressing here. We're working through all the supply, and then when we get the breakthrough, we get that release up. So Amgen, probably could have had a little more patience myself on that trade, but I don't condemn that action too much. I like the decision making generally on that pick. All right, second pick I had that day was ANF. You can see that came out on January 5th. So we had a hammer that day. ANF was down a little bit and then it went back up, tested this upward sloping trend line, and you can see how it's been pretty much grinding up all the way out. And earnings is coming up for another month. So I mean, if you're still in the stock, you can stay in it. I mean, it's still good until earnings. This is one I'd probably take a longer term swing on, like I mentioned in that video. Still continues to grind up, withstanding all of the market pullbacks. And just got to give this one time. But ANF, really, really nice win. All right, crowd on 1-8. So here's crowd. We see we had a nice bull flag over here. We gapped up, really nice price action here, and we took profits. There was a high plus trend line coming into play over there. Looks like it's not showing now. Crowd has continued to surge higher, pulled back a little bit, another bull flag here. Took profits in the gap up, compressed, and then it broke the compression yesterday for the upside. So crowd, we had a nice win over there. Let's look at cost. Cost on 1-8. This is where I called out the trade. 1-9, where we had a bullish flag through the A VWAP E. grinded higher, pulled back here, tested this breakout level, and moved up again. I actually took a short-term swing on cost today for another win. Another great grinder in this stock. Microsoft we took on 110. You can see we had a nice long compression over here, and then we took profits. There was a high plus trend line that came into play that caused this candle. So we took profits at this high plus trend line. The stock rallied into earnings and continued to grind up higher. So if there was another opportunity, let's say here, 119 was another swing opportunity. Take profits somewhere here. A couple opportunities in Microsoft. So that's another win. Uber PCS, we put this for a strike that expired on the 9th, which was after earnings. We bought it back for a small win, which is a mistake on our part. But you see that if you got a CDS on Uber, continued to grind higher and rallied into earnings. So you could ride that call all the way into earnings for Uber. Ramp on 111. Here is Ramp, and then we took, it popped up, moved down a little bit, and then in a really big pop up, I forgot the nature of the news, and then it pretty much compressing, holding this gap here, which is a nice sign of strength until earnings. So we took profits on this gap up. Really, really nice win on Ramp. It far exceeded our profit target, and we will take that. Next, we took Spot on 112. So here is, where is 112? Here is 112. You can see Spot was grinding up, made it through this horizontal resistance, tested this level, and then it pushed back higher. So you could take profits there on the 118th, and again, continued to rally up into the market. And we, had a nice earnings reaction, which we're not trading, but you can see this nice rally into the number for Spot. So I hope you're seeing any common patterns here on these charts. These are all very strong D1 charts, and they have very steady price action. So ELF we took here on the 16th, pull back here. I think we ended up taking the L on ELF somewhere over here. The stock actually did manage to rally up into earnings a little bit, and earnings on the close on the 6th. So if you wanted to hold until earnings, you could. You can see the strength of the market on the stock going in that favor. So you had a chance to actually make a profit on this in earnings. So, but Spot was the one that we took an L on. So TMUS, we took it here as a day trade. You could do a little bit of a swing to this high plus trend line and take some $1 profits over there. Pretty neutral earnings reaction, but you had a short timeline for that trade. All right. ACAM was another one that was great. You can see that today on the 18th, we had a nice bullish flag again. Was close over here. Was close over here. And I believe we took profits when it approached this high right here. There was a high plus trend line. It compressed, held all the gains sideways, and now it has started to move up higher. It was also at an all-time high. That's why we took profits on ACAM. We have this all-time high at 124.91. And if we look at 124.91 on the chart, which is right around here, you can see it's providing a little bit of resistance. But the stock was digesting the gains. There are still buyers, and we had a nice breakout today. ACAM, excellent win in our book. All right. Guild did not do so great. We took it here, and then we exited partial loss here on the gap around 80, and we had earnings. So Guild was a loss. I will say that this is when options have an advantage over stocks. If you're holding them overnight, you are exposed to some of these tail risk scenarios that are basically very low probability but have a high negative impact. If you have an option, your max loss is limited to 100%. right? And then your max gain can be more than 100%, right? You can take 200%. So you have a fixed loss, and it really helps over time, especially in these scenarios. So that is the one advantage of options over stocks, but it happens. We took the full L on Guild, and we moved on to fight another day. Okay, SNPS on the 22nd, we took it here. I think we took profits the next day. I don't know when exactly we took profits, but pullback, had a retest of this level, and you can see here that we hit some resistance around this level right here, pull back again, and then we surged higher, earnings coming up. So SNPS continues to do pretty well. There is some merger news, so you have to be wary of that, but another nice win in our books. Stock is up a nice amount. All right, ABBV. We took this on 123, which was here. And then we took a W. Let's see. Looks like we probably took a W before. I think overnight was probably the W. I'd have to go check my notes. If we zoom in on what is happening. Oh, by the way, too, this is a an all-time high in ABBV. So if it breaks through that, we'll have a really nice trade on our hands. But looks like ABBV was an overnight W. I think it probably hit my price target and then moved on. But I had it as a win here. AMD on the 24th. We took it here, and then we took profits at this high plus trend line over here. Or I think we had a half ATR move or something like that. So we took some nice profits in AMD. Shorter term swing before it goes into earnings. HLT. Took HLT on the 25th, which is Hilton, and it rallied into earnings. So you could take profits here, here. Any of these moves up. It was a nice steady grinder higher. Ally is a single one that is still open. So we took it here after earnings, had to digest the gains, but it's starting to climb a little bit higher today. Posted a nice little move up. We had a Snow PCS that was also a mistake after earnings. Really strong chart. Or sorry, not we scheduled it for after earnings, but I took it here, pulled back, then it surged higher, so we closed it for a small win. Could I have held it higher? Sure, but I don't want to be trapped in the stock before earnings. So I needed to do a much better job of looking at those dates. Finally, the last one here was a COP day trade that we took here on the 30th. Between here and here, we were able to take a nice 50-cent win. So pretty happy with that. Had some earnings. It rejected off here. Now surged into earnings. So overall, you can see a couple of stuff. The D1 charts are typically very, very strong. They were all trending in the upper quadrant. They all had relative strength. They were all nice and orderly. And a lot of them benefited from holding them longer, right? Most of my winners did great when I held them longer if they didn't perform. I had two losers in Elf and Guild. Guild happens, nothing you can do. Elf, actually, if we'd held until earnings, we would have won because there was no technical violation until that point. A lot of our stocks, like earlier, before mega cap earnings, Microsoft, Cost, they all benefited from holding longer, like I said again. And in our PCSs, we had to be a little bit better about not choosing dates before earnings. But overall, out of those 19 picks, we had one open. We had 16 winners and 2 losers. So that puts us at an 89% win rate for January. So you should have been able to make a lot of great money on those trades. If you look at the market in that time frame, let's look at the market in January. Right, this is the market in January. Posted a decent month of gains. November was a massive month over here. And if we look at the weeks, we scale in slowly. We see that a lot of weeks are winning weeks. right? Here's here's first week in January, up, 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 and up, right? This is the only first week of losses on the pullback over here. The daily market context, January, we started still in this compression, and then when we got that break through the upside on the 19th, we had some nice market moves. However, we got a lot of great stock wins before we got this market breakout on the 19th, right? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 picks, 10 and 1 in this earlier part of the month. Just waiting for the right time to strike on these moves. And a couple of these moves, you know, the market went down, right? So on the 16th, it closed lower, so we didn't take a lot of picks. On the 17th, it also closed lower, so we had one win that was a day trade. On the 18th, we had a nice little move up higher. We could start to take some longs. And that is what we want, you know. There's some opportunity to take more picks. I didn't take a whole bunch of... I'm not only taking one pick every single day, but I'm giving you one pick per trading day. You can certainly take, you know, there's a lot of picks to choose from, and you want to pick the best ones. There's also some earnings, time spreads to play. I played a few more put credit spreads that weren't mentioned in the video. There's also day trading opportunities that are not mentioned in the video. So you kind of have to play or do what you feel is right, depending on the market scenario. But again, those are all the trades for January. I hope this was helpful. It certainly helped me just seeing all my picks, seeing what's in common, seeing what I could have improved. And we will do this again in February.